Toledo basketball continues to roll. Men 14-game winning streak, women 12-game winning streak. All this in today's episode of the Toledo Rockets Podcast. Thank you for joining today. The Toledo men's basketball team just continues to roll. On Tuesday night, they defeated Central Michigan 99-65 at Central Michigan. They are now 24-6 overall, 15-2 in the MAC. Like I said, a 14-game winning streak that is currently the longest in the country, tied with Oral Roberts at 14 games. Cedric Milner went off in this game, 32 points. Ray J. Dennis had 21 points. And EJ Farmer with another solid performance off the bench, adding 15 points for the Rockets and going 8 for 8 from the foul line. In fact, Toledo was a perfect 28 of 28 from the foul line in this game. So they have clinched at least a share of the MAC regular season title, third straight year with the MAC title, MAC regular season title. They are the first MAC team to achieve this feat in over 70 years. 3 straight MAC regular season titles. They will take on Ball State at Ball State this Friday, March 3rd at 6 p.m. CBS Sports Network. Huge game. If Toledo wins that game, they clinch the number 1 seed in the MAC tournament. Even if they lose and Kent State loses to Akron on Friday night as well, they would still clinch the number 1 seed in the MAC tournament. So either way, if you get a Kent State loss, Toledo will have the number 1 seed. Obviously, they want to beat Ball State, clinch it that way. They've already clinched the MAC regular season title, at least a share of it with Kent State. And, they want to keep rolling because you want to be rolling going into the MAC tournament. And they are doing that. They're just destroying teams right now. It has been more than 6. It's been 6 games actually exactly since they won by less than double digits when they beat Eastern Michigan by 7. That was nearly a month ago, February 11th. Since then, they've just been rolling, winning by 34 points here against Central Michigan, beating Buffalo the game before by 30. It just goes on and on. They beat Akron. I believe that game was by 20 or 21 points. So, they're playing really well right now. They're shooting the ball really well. They've been shooting good from the foul line all year. Incredible, perfect 28 of 28 in this game. So they are playing very good at the right time going into the MAC tournament. 24-6 overall. A win at Ball State puts them at 25-6, 16-2 in the MAC going into the MAC tournament. And you start thinking at this point, can Toledo get an at-large bid if they trip in the semifinals or the MAC championship game? It's certainly a possibility. The MAC doesn't typically get 2 teams in. They don't usually get an at-large bid, but Toledo has been so good this year. The run they're on, it's definitely a possibility. Obviously, they don't want to go to that point, right? They want to win the MAC tournament and get that automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out the rest of the way here. Ball State's a tough team. It's at Ball State. They're currently in 4th place, but they've got 20 wins. They're a good, very good team. They beat Toledo in Toledo earlier in the year. Ball State was playing really well at that time. They haven't been playing quite as well down the stretch, but still playing pretty well. And Toledo's playing a lot better than they were early in the conference season when they lost to Ball State. But again, it's at Ball State, Muncie, Indiana. It's a place that Toledo historically does struggle a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how this game goes. But this team is on a roll as well. And I've said it before, they're so experienced. They seem to know how to win games. And it'll be very interesting to see how this game plays out. And then you've got the MAC tournament. And, we're so close at this point to seeing Toledo finally get into the NCAA tournament. If they can win the MAC tournament, be huge. Something that hasn't happened in a long time. It's been 40 years, a little more than 40 years, right? So definitely so close at this point, on their heels. Big game against Ball State Friday night. All right. So let's move over to the women. And the women now with a 12-game winning streak. What a game Wednesday night at home in Savage Arena against Kent State. Toledo struggled. They came out and took a 12-2 lead early, but only led 14-8 at the end of the first quarter. So Kent State got a little bit closer there. And then Toledo got outscored 28-13 in the second quarter. They just did not shoot the ball very well, and they were trailing 36-27 at halftime. They were still trailing 45-37 after three quarters. So with one quarter to go, down by 8, they were shooting just 12% from the three-point line, 33% from the field. And then the fourth quarter came. And they still trailed most of the fourth quarter, but they outscored Kent State 27-15 in that fourth quarter. And they improved their shooting from the field for the game to 39%. Still not very good from the three-point line, 14.3% for the game. But, they did what they needed to do to come back and win the game. Kanisha Lockett willed Toledo to the win in this game, 24 points. And the Rockets were still trailing 56-55 with 1 minute and 11 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Nan Garcia went to the line, made both free throws, big free throws, to put Toledo in the lead for good. Kanisha Lockett scored 12 seconds later on a layup, and they had a 3-point lead at 59-56. From there, it just became a free throw game, and Toledo prevailed for their 12th straight win. So Toledo won the game 64-60 against a pretty solid Kent State team, really. And it was a game that they struggled to shoot all game long. They came back in the fourth quarter. The crowd was a big factor, and they just played much better and showed their experience, really, and how to come back and win games. So for the women, it's at least a share of the MAC regular season title. Second year in a row for a MAC regular season title. They won it outright last year. Big showdown against Bowling Green this Saturday at Savage Arena at 2 p.m. for a chance at an outright MAC regular season title and the number 1 seed in the MAC tournament. Bowling Green, 25-4 overall, 14-3 in the MAC. Just beat Ball State 81-76 in overtime. Ball State is now 2 games behind Toledo. Of course, Toledo holds tiebreaker against them anyway, but there's just 1 game to go in the regular season. Bowling Green is a game behind Toledo, so Toledo has that 1-game lead, but they play in this last game of the regular season. So if Bowling Green is able to beat Toledo, they will finish tied for the MAC regular season title. They'll share the title. Bowling Green would have beaten Toledo both times and would get the number 1 seed in the MAC tournament. Toledo would be the number 2 seed. If Toledo can prevail and win this game in Savage Arena, Toledo will win the MAC regular season title outright. They will actually be 2 games ahead of Bowling Green and at least 2 ahead of Ball State, depending on what they do in their last game. So this sets up an epic regular season finale between Toledo and Bowling Green, rivals at Toledo Savage Arena. This game is going to be at 2 p.m. in Savage Arena. It should be packed. It really should be packed. A chance to really knock off your rivals, keep them from getting a share of the MAC regular season title, and secure the number 1 seed, and really put yourself at a point that the NCAA has to look at them as an at-large bid if they lose in the MAC tournament. They're 24-4 right now. They would be 25-4 with a win over Bowling Green, on Saturday. They're 15-2 in the MAC. They would go 16-2. It's, it would be really tough with the schedule that Toledo played, beating Michigan at Michigan, beating Ball State twice, beating Bowling Green once. If they get to the MAC tournament and then trip up in the, let's say the semifinal or the championship game, they have a very, very strong argument to get in as an at-large bid. Again, just like the men, they'd rather win the MAC tournament and get the automatic bid into the NCAA tournament, no doubt about it. But yeah, this game Saturday is a key game, really, to get that 25th win, get the number one seed in the MAC tournament, and show that they are worthy of an at-large bid if there would be a slip in the MAC tournament. So that's where we're at for both the men and women. Great seasons. They both have 24 wins right now. One game to go in the regular season. They both have at least a share of the MAC regular season title. The men, third year in a row. The women, the second year in a row. The basketball programs at the University of Toledo are just on fire right now. You look at what happened with the football team winning the MAC championship last year, and now the men winning their third straight regular season title. The women, second straight regular season title, at least a share for both of those teams, right? The men and women this year. The sports at Toledo have been very good. And, I believe it was the cross country team was ranked, did very well this year. So, the sports, the athletic department is doing very well at the University of Toledo. And another key thing is that academics have been a key point for the athletic department, right? And the graduation rates and the GPAs for these student athletes have been great. It's just a testament to what the entire athletic department is doing, what these student athletes are doing, both on the field, on the court, and in the classroom. So great to see. And looking forward to the basketball games Friday night and Saturday afternoon. And we'll definitely be talking about that more. Also, talking about football, they just started spring practices up. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about the football team here with the spring practices going on here over a little bit over the next month, basically a little over a month here of spring practices and so forth.